You need to change your brain, and this ancient brain will only change with ceremony. And the fire is humanity's most ancient ceremony. Wake up from that cultural trance that we have been educated into so that we can become natural beings again, come back to our natural selves. We need to recover our soul, our natural soul, and not that overly domesticated Western soul that tells us that whoever dies with the most toys wins. So we need to return to the elements and to nature. We need to return to our senses. We need to lose our mind and come to our senses. Antonio was my mentor, was my teacher. He was the combination of a father figure and a compassionate, kind, and wise old man. And I had spent 20 years training with him. Only he and I were the only people who knew how little I truly knew. And one day he invites me to go with him back to the place of birth, to the place of origin, to Lake Titicaca, to the place where his people came from, and because he was going on his final journey. I mentioned earlier that I spent many years in a brain laboratory at San Francisco State University. And one of the things that we learned is that there are very ancient parts of the human brain. It's called the mammalian brain, actually, the limbic brain, a very ancient brain. It has 4 programs, which are fear, fight or flight, fear, feeding, scarcity, I don't have enough, I need to hoard, greed, fear, feeding, fighting, aggression, projecting the enemy onto the other, and fornicating, using sexuality to manipulate, which is rampant, of course, in the world today. So this ancient brain actually needs ceremony in order to change. It will not allow you to change unless it has ceremony, which is why you have ceremonies everywhere around the world. It's why you have graduation ceremonies and wedding ceremonies and birth and death ceremonies everywhere, because that ancient brain will not allow you to change unless you create a rite of passage for it. And you know that you cannot change your mind unless you change your brain. This is what we've learned today. You need to change your brain, and this ancient brain will only change with ceremony. And the fire is humanity's most ancient ceremony, the fire ceremony. Do it at home. Take it home with you. Remember that you have been trained. You've been taking part in an experiment that nobody signed you up for. And this is called the American or the European American educational experiment, where we're training children to become systematically, mentally retarded by training them to become good consumers. And we have to shatter that mold, to wake up from that cultural trance that we have been educated into, so that we can become natural beings again, come back to our natural selves, come back to the fire, come back to the water, to the wind, and to the light. We need to recover our soul, our natural soul, and not that overly domesticated Western soul that tells us that whoever dies with the most toys wins. Part of breaking that cultural trance that we've been educated into is to return to the ancient ceremonies, to return to the ancient ways. There are days that I wake up in the morning and I'll go straight to the fire to do ceremony. Because there's so much happening in the world today that are disconnecting us even further from our authentic, original, and aboriginal selves. So we need to return to the elements and to nature. We need to return to our senses. We need to lose our mind and come to our senses of direct experience. You know, in the Andes, what happens in the high Andes. And I remember going with my mentors to the holy mountain of the Ausangate. And it's a very high mountain. And right before the solstice, all of the fires and all of the villages would be put out. All of the fires would be extinguished for 3 days. 3 days of darkness. And then on the 21st of June, and actually before that, it was when the Pleiades rose above the horizon again, and the light of the Pleiades would then hit the ice at the very top of the mountain. And it was only the shamans who could dance at the very top of the mountain at 7,000 meters altitude that would they would capture that light of fire from the Pleiades, and they would capture a piece of ice, bring it down, and share it with all of the villages, who would take a small piece of ice back to their village, as well as the fire. So they could get the fire for their kitchens started again, and they could feed themselves with a little piece of ice with the fire from the Pleiades, from the stars, which is the place that they believed that they came from originally. So what I'd like to invite you to do is to go to your restroom, rinse your hands in water, cleanse your hands, and if you want to cleanse your chakras, what happened after this fire is that you would take water in your hand and you would cleanse the chakra counterclockwise, as if your body were the face of the clock and your hands were the hands of the clock. And beginning in your heart center, and then rinsing your hands, and then going to your first chakra, counterclockwise, rinsing your hands. Second chakra, counterclockwise, rinsing your hands. The third chakra, counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. Body is the clock, your hands are the hands of the clock. Rinsing your hands. The heart chakra again, rinsing your hands in cold water, your throat. Rinsing your hands, your sixth chakra. Rinsing your hands in your seventh chakra. Counterclockwise. And then wait a moment, rinse both of your hands, and then beginning in your heart center, spin it clockwise, rebalancing that chakra. And then down to your first chakra, spinning it clockwise. And you can rinse in between if you like. You don't need to, but you can. Because now you're simply reactivating them. Before you were cleansing them. Third chakra, clockwise direction. Throat. Third eye. And the very crown. So you're resetting your chakra system as well at a biological level. When you call on the four guardians and install them, they're like filters. They filter the energy coming into your house, into your bedroom, into your meditation area, and they make it exquisitely pure. It's like this. Many of you have heard of structured water. Actually, it's surprising how many people have not heard of structured water. Because when water flows down a creek, it tumbles over the rocks, and it actually has a spiral. It has a spiral movement. When it gets put into plumbing pipes to take water into a city, the pipes are perfectly straight, and the water becomes unstructured, which means it doesn't have the dynamic life force. Chemically, it's identical, but it no longer has a spiral dynamic. It no longer is life-giving. It's no longer life-sustaining water. The same with the energy that flows from power lines and radio towers and cell phone towers is unstructured, it's straight line. Whereas in nature, all of the energy is spiraling. It's in a spiral dynamic. And when you install the 4 guardians, they will restructure the energy to make it life supportive and energy supportive. It makes it healing, exquisitely healing. And it keeps everything out that is unstructured. The less structured the energy or the water or the environment that you're in, the more that it triggers disease. So the guardians are really important. It's not just to keep bad stuff out and to allow only good stuff in, but it's to create a harmonic in the space where you are working and living and loving and dreaming. You know, I remember one shaman in the Amazon said to me one time, Alberto, where have you been the last 20 years? And I go, what do you mean? I said, yeah, you've been asleep. I said, yeah, you sleep about 1/3 of your life, 8 hours a day. And he said, yeah, you've been asleep. I've been dreaming, he said to me. So that even during the time that we dream and that we sleep, there's a regenerative process happening in the body. What's happening in the body at that time is that the brain shrinks by 20%. Did you know that your brain shrinks by 20% while you're dreaming, while you're in deep sleep, so that cerebral spinal fluid can wash away toxins from the brain? This is really accelerated when you live in a place where the energy is harmonic. If it's harmonized, if it's coherent, if it's structured, wow, then you repair and you heal. The other thing that happens when you sleep is that melatonin, which you all know is what gets us to go to sleep at night, produced by the pineal gland, melatonin, what it does is that it repairs DNA inside your brain. And if you're not in an environment where the energy is structured, you don't have the DNA repair that we need in order to prevent the dementias, and even more important, to access the higher states of clarity and of consciousness and communion that creates psychosomatic health. This is why the more that you learn to work with the energies that we're surrounded by, the more that you'll be able to create the kind of environments that promote health and that promote healing and that promote communion, sacred communion with all of the life forms that we're surrounded by. The only female English astronaut that went to the space station, Helen Sharma, PhD in chemistry, was asked one time, well, do you think we're going to meet extraterrestrial intelligence? She said, I am so looking forward to it because terrestrial intelligence is so dull and stupid. And then they asked her, well, what do you mean? What do you think they'll look like? She says, well, they have been here with us for 10,000 years. They are among us. They're just an octave off, so they're invisible to us and we to them. But they're populating, we're sharing space, we're sharing dimensions together. And the quality of the encounters that you have with these divine beings in the invisible world is determined by the quality of the space that you create in your home and in your meditation area. These are the Buddhas and the shamans and the saints and the angels that are going to come and visit you. After you do it for a few weeks, you're going to begin to wake up from the cultural trance that we have been educated into. And it's going to begin to show you every aspect of your life that you have colluded with that is not true. And then you're going to need to bring truth, not healing, but truth, into all facets and aspects of your life. So don't save it for the last couple of weeks of your life. Take it on today. Install the protectors. Do your practice. Commune with heaven and earth. Remember, you are a miraculous divine being on an exquisite spiritual journey here on earth. So let's release the guardians. Let's thank them, release them, let them return back to nature, releasing the spirit of the serpent first, and then the jaguar, and then the hummingbird, and then the eagle. To the winds of the south, great serpent, mother of the waters, thank you, Mother, for wrapping your coils of light around us, for teaching us your ways, the beauty way, to walk with beauty on the earth, to touch everyone we touch with beauty. Thank you for being with us, Mother. You who were the first one to bring us the fruit of the tree of knowledge. We thank you. You are the serpent of the Kundalini, the serpent of the goddesses. Thank you for being with us. Teach us your ways to shed the past, the way you shed your skin, all at once. Aho. And to the west, the jaguar. To the winds of the west, Mother, Sister Jaguar. Thank you, Mother. Thank you for walking among us, for teaching us your ways of integrity, of impeccability, of fearlessness, of walking through the earth without fear, in safety. Teach us those dark and hidden places where we may discover our greatest treasures. Show us the ways beyond death into infinity. Aho. To the winds of the north, grandmothers, grandfathers, ancient ones, guardians and keepers of this land, hummingbird, thank you. Thank you for buzzing around us, for nudging us to go on the hero's journey, to say yes to our calling, to go on that great journey into the unknown, to drink only from the nectar of flowers. Teach us your ways, show us your ways of sweet nectar, for that is the real nature of who we are and who we came to be in this world. Thank you. Aho. To the winds of the east, the place of the rising sun, eagle, condor, thank you, Mother, for flying high above us, for holding us under your wing, Mother, for opening our eyes and allowing us to see the true nature of reality, to see truth, and eventually, as we perceive only truth, to be able to co-create with Spirit in truth and with truth. Show us the ways of opening our own wings, spreading our wings that we may fly wing to wing with the Great Spirit. Allow us to see the curvature of the earth. Allow us to embark on that great journey that we have been on for so many lifetimes. Thank you, Mother, for holding us so sweetly. Aho. Pachamama. Great Mother, thank you, Mother. Thank you for holding us so sweetly, for feeding us, for nurturing us. Thank you for your life force, for your life blood, the waters that run through our veins, your breath. Thank you, Mother, for holding us and healing us despite what we do to you, Mother. Thank you for allowing us to wake up one more day. Aho. Inti Taita, Father, Son, Grandmother Moon, to all the star nations, our star brothers and sisters, Yapanapukuna, the sacred mountains of this land, and Great Spirit, you who sit above us and below us, in the north, the south, the east, and the west, we thank you for bringing us together today in celebration and meditation, and for allowing us to sing the song of life one more day. Aho.